From the Vox Popular Studios in Miami Lakes, we bring you the Miami Lakes Business Podcast. And today we have a member, a very dear member of the chamber, also a member of the local BNI group, Mrs. Norma Lorenzo, who happens to be a immigration attorney. So thank you for being here with us today, Norma.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Good.
Such a pleasure.
So, thank you. So we're going to begin by asking you just a few questions so that people get familiar with with what an immigration lawyer does.
Absolutely.
So explain to us what the most routine cases that you have. What?
Sure. So basically the most routine cases, the easiest cases that you're going to see in an immigration law firm, obviously some could get complicated, but for the most part are going to be, your family petitions where a U.S. citizen married a foreign national and now they're petitioning so that that foreign national could get a green card. That's very basic. Another basic procedure is people that already have their green card that are applying to become U.S. citizens. That's also a very basic procedure. Obviously, these cases could get complicated. But for the most part, if there's no criminal history, if the person has good moral character, and there's no significant issues, they should be, very straightforward and easy to process. Once in a while, you'll get other family petitions, like if you have a U.S. citizen mother who's petitioning for her child. Those petitions are very straightforward because it's easy to prove to immigration that that relationship is a bona fide relationship. So they tend to move quickly.
All right. And what about the most difficult cases that you have had?
Anything that's going to involve when you're dealing with a foreign national that has a criminal history and you start getting into the arena of waivers, that's going to become complicated. Anytime that you have a foreign national that's already in immigration court, because remember, people think immigration is just one entity, but you're dealing with different facets of the same umbrella entity. So for a family petition, I'm dealing with USCIS, but if somebody's being threatened to get deported by our government, then we're not dealing with USCIS anymore. Now we're dealing with the immigration court. So those tend to be heavier, litigious, obviously. You have the government trying to deport this person and you're defending them. And then there could be some business cases, some that become a little bit more complicated and they're more sophisticated when you're petitioning for those people.
I see. What about the? I know that this is on people's mind. That new ruling. I guess it was an executive decision, or that President Biden signed in regards to allowing people to apply as long as they had a sponsor here in the country that would take responsibility for for
Right.
their well-being and what. How's that going? Is that
So that actually you're talking about the humanitarian parole, and that actually started a while back, but it was only beneficial to Venezuelan nationals. So what happened recently is that the program that already existed got expanded to cover 3 additional nationalities: Nicaragua, Haiti, and Cuba. So through this program, people that have been, for example, if you're a U.S. citizen, you can petition for your sister, but those petitions take 15, 20 years. So now all of a sudden, with this new program, you don't have to wait 15, 20 years. You can bring those people over here much, much sooner. Mm-hmm. However, 20 states, led by the state of Texas, is currently suing the government, saying, you can't do this. This is not good. This is not good for the country. This is, unconstitutional. You cannot do this. And that's being litigated. And we had been told that a decision was going to be made in April, and now we've been updated that the decision might come in June or July. So what's going to happen to the program, we don't know. Is it going to continue? Is it going to be reduced or restricted, or is it going to be completely abolished? We don't know.
Who would actually make that decision? Is that the courts?
Yes.
Is it the immigration office?
It is in federal court right now.
Federal court.
And of course, that could entail an appeal, but I'm not sure that maybe the Supreme Court is interested in that case.
I see. I have to ask you this question because there's so many different types of attorneys. What made you choose immigration?
So immigration kind of chose me. It was a totality of the circumstances. When I graduated from law school, it was 2005, and I actually have a background in science. I'm a chemist, and I wanted to do intellectual property. That was my intent. But the market wasn't there for intellectual property in Miami. That's something that does really well in the Northeast. And at that point in my life, I wasn't willing to move. So I started looking around for jobs, and there was a really nice firm, an immigration firm that had an open position. And I said, let me apply. And I did. And I fell in love with the people that I worked for. And I fell in love with immigration. I never really thought I was going to practice immigration. But once I started doing that, I was like, there's nothing else that I'm going to do. And that's exactly what happened. Here we are almost 20 years later, and that's all I do.
That's interesting. Very interesting. You're located, obviously, here in Miami Lakes.
Yes, we've been here in Miami Lakes for the past, I want to say, 8 years. The firm started way before me. It's been around for a long time. It was originally in Coral Gables, and then I made partner. My partner passed away, and after that, I relocated to Miami Lakes, but it's the same firm.
The same firm.
Yes.
How many people do you employ at this point?
At this point, we have seven employees. So it's a boutique style firm right now. There's the potential to maybe grow, but I'm not necessarily 100% sure that's my vision for the firm. I kind of like the boutique style practice of it, where I really get to know my clients, and they, after years of being with them, some clients are with you for a very long time, they become family. So I like that human side of it.
No, I can attest to that because I personally visited your office.
Exactly.
And the feel home experience, is there. You can tell by the all the employees that you have, and it's a reflection of Norma Lorenzo.
Yeah, I really I really take care in having employees that, for me, they're like family, but there's a certain culture in my office, and that's very important for me. I need to, we need to feel good where we are so that we could be at our best.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Norma Lorenzo, the person.
Yeah.
So you do have, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because you do have a very interesting history of what you have done, and not even related to what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
So I think that people would love to hear from you, and also talk a little bit about your family, about your husband and your kids. And
so I was actually born in Cuba. A lot of people think that I was born here, but I was not. I was born in Cuba, in Regla, and we were fortunate to have my uncle here during the 1980 Mariel boat lift, and he was able to send a boat for us, and we were able to come over here during the boat lift. And my parents were, as soon as they got here, they're blue-collar workers all their lives. I remember my dad working 3 jobs, my mother working 3 jobs. My grandmother used to live with us and take care of me. And my mother would always tell me, the only way out, is through education. And that was instilled in me since I was very, very small. And I was always a very good student because I took it to heart. I was like, I would see them and I loved them and I appreciated them so much for their sacrifice. But I would always say, I don't want to have 3 jobs like mama, you know? And she, I think, was telling me the same thing, like, you don't want to have 3 jobs like mama. So, so education was a very big part of my goals. And I studied for, some would say for too many years.
The eternal student?
Yes. I remember when I had my bachelor's in chemistry and my master's in forensic chemistry.
Wow.
And I remember when I finished my master's, I came home and I told mama, I was like, Mama, I'm going to law school. And she was like, no, you're not. And I was like, no, I'm going to law school. She was like, stop kidding. Like, when are you going to work? And I'm like, I'm going to work after law school, Mama. So that's how that went.
Right. How did law become a passion for you?
So again, like many important decisions in my life, it was like opportunity that presented itself to me. And I was about to graduate from this is a true story, and Dr. Furden might be listening to this. I was about to graduate from my master's at FIU in Dr. Furden's lab. And he walked in and he says to me, are you going to stay and do your PhD here? Because if you are, I need to file for a grant because I need to fund you. And I said, I don't know if I want to do a PhD. And he said to me, by the way, we're interviewing a dean for the FIU new School of Law. And he's a great guy. And he's gotten like 3 new law schools throughout the United States accredited. He was like, would you like to be in law school? And I said, Dr. Furden, I can't write. I'm not a good writer. I'm an analytical mind. He goes, what do you think law is? It's analytic. And I said, sure, I'll give it a try for the first semester. And that's how law school happened. And I loved it. I went first semester and I was successful. I did well. And I really, really fell in love with it. And I stuck to it.
That's a wonderful story. I know that your husband is also another scholar.
Yeah. So my husband Brian Ramos, he has a PhD from Yale, and he's gonna kill me. It's in the arena of biology, but I think it's in neurology, and yeah, that's how we met through his sister. I went to law school with his sister, and she paired us up, and she was like, I think you're really gonna like Brian because he really likes science. And I was like, Nicole, you didn't tell me your brother was getting a PhD. Like, I thought he read science journals. Because she was like, he really likes science. I'm like, So yeah, so he's teaching now, and we also have 2 beautiful children.
Mm-hmm. Which I have met also.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful as well. I think you do have a wonderful story and very inspiring. And I am so glad that you accepted our invitation. And, as we mentioned in our first program, we are trying to introduce all of our members, and everybody will get an opportunity of being here and partaking with me and tell the story and talk about what they do and what have you, so that people in our town can get closer, and you can get closer to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I thank you for being here. It's certainly been very interesting, and then you see the time went by so.
It goes by fast.
So quick,
Yeah.
It's amazing how 12, 15 minutes can go by.
Yes.
But again, I think we invested more time today in the preparation than the actual programs.
Yeah, but we got it. We got it going.
We got it done thanks to our Matthew. So, folks, we are it's time to go, and we thank Norma Lorenzo for being with us today. Till next time.